at the time of filming, we're right at the start of race week for the 2025 US Grand Prix in Austin, Texas. And while the race at Circuit of the Americas might not have the same glitz and glamour as the other two races that take place in the United States in Las Vegas and Miami, it's considered the race that the most hardcore Formula One fans go to, because frankly, the Texas heat is brutal. But despite this, it's overall extremely well received both by American fans and people tuning in from across the pond. But Formula One stops in Texas have not always been so well received. The Formula One Dallas Grand Prix was held for the first and only time in 1984. It was pitched to investors as a way to propel Dallas up to the same echelon as other global cities like London and New York. So organizers had days of events and tons of amenities planned to basically turn the race in Dallas into Monaco in a cowboy hat. A ritzy party on race weekend was thrown at the iconic Neiman Marcus store in downtown Dallas with racing and local elites. $25,000 racing suites with air conditioning and catering were sold. The literal president of the United States was there. And despite all of this, it was a complete and utter disaster. The fairly technical road course was 2.4 miles long and situated in a neighborhood called Fair Park, around the grounds for the Texas State Fair. The paddocks for the race were actually stationed in buildings typically used for livestock shows. Bernie Ecclestone, unsurprisingly, was very critical of this and is quoted as saying, "We don't normally work in cow shit." Charming. In addition to the previous bovine tenants of the paddock, it was hot. And not the kind of hot that like some shade and a couple sips of water can help you fix. And ironically enough, the early July date picked was to help avoid a rain delay, because the rainy seasons in Dallas kind of flank either end of the typical F1 calendar, so they just thought it would be best to put it in the middle. And this questionable decision is one of the huge reasons why this race was so ill-fated. Ambient temperatures got to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and track temperatures exceeded 150 degrees Fahrenheit. To add some perspective to how hot that actually is, this year's Singapore Grand Prix was the first race ever to receive a heat advisory from the FIA, and the track temperatures on race day were a full 60 degrees below what they were on the date of the Dallas Grand Prix. And 40 years ago, the drivers did not have those really cool looking cooling vests. They just suffered. And Nigel Mansell, whose car broke down just shy of the finish line on the very last lap, actually ended up passing out from heat exhaustion whenever he got out of his car to try to push it across the finish line. And believe me when I say, Drive to Survive would eat that up. In addition to the blistering heat, there was a 50-lap Can-Am race that happened the day before the Formula One race, and it left the track surface completely destroyed. And because of this, the practice sessions for Formula One were canceled, and they were actively repairing the track surface until 30 minutes before race start. This, in addition to everything else, actually prompted Niki Lauda and Alain Prost to organize a driver's strike against the race from even happening in the first place, citing danger to the cars and the drivers. People were expecting the cars to be shaken apart, people to break bones whenever they crashed into barricades, and each other. And honestly, their intuition was pretty spot on. The race ended up being cut 11 laps short, with only 67 laps being completed, because 16 of the 24 cars ended up having to retire either due to mechanical failures or crashes. That means only 8 cars crossed the finish line and are considered finishers of the Dallas Grand Prix. Keke Rosberg ultimately ended up winning the race with a 22-second lead over Rene Arnoux, who finished P2. The podium was finished out by Elio De Angelis, and Niki Lauda set the fastest lap of 1 minute and 45.353 seconds. And you might be saying to yourself, this race was already a disaster. How much worse could it get? It gets worse. The race organizer, Dallas Grand Prix of Texas Incorporated, creative name, originally contracted 5 races to happen in the city. However, they could never agree on future dates for upcoming races with the governing body that oversaw races at the time. And whenever it came time for money to change hands, the front money was never paid. And the leader of the Dallas Grand Prix of Texas Incorporated, Don Walker, was actually investigated along with the rest of the organization by the SEC and the FBI whenever he was found to be siphoning money from the company into his personal accounts to fund his lavish lifestyle. And after trying to negotiate with FOCA multiple times, they ended up filing for bankruptcy in 1985. And in addition to the bad business going on, there's the glaring issue of the race happening in a really densely populated residential area of Dallas. So naturally, a ton of noise complaints were filed, not only due to the F1 race, but due to the other racing series that had events at the track that weekend. So the authorities got kind of fed up with it. It's also worth pointing out that the neighborhood that this race took place in, Fair Park, is a predominantly black, low-income neighborhood in Dallas. Residents felt like this track's placement was yet another blatantly disrespectful act by a wealthy businessman to ultimately undermine and discard the wishes of their otherwise really vibrant community. So when you take the heat, the track conditions, the track design, the shady business practices, and the poor treatment of the locals living around the track, it's really no wonder why Formula One left the state of Texas entirely until 2012 when Circuit of the America was finished in Austin, which is about 3 hours south of the race in Dallas. And frankly, I think that if the used money to construct the Dallas Grand Prix was used to either build a completely new permanent track or to expand on an existing track like Texas Motor Speedway, the outcome would have been very, very different, and maybe Dallas could still be a home for Formula One today. That's all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know what you thought about this format in the comments below. If you've subscribed to me before, you know that this is an entirely new format for me. In fact, this channel was built originally just for me to do automotive reviews, and it's been about a year since I've uploaded one, and I'm kind of wanting to change direction to this more video essay style content. So it's something entirely new for me, but I think it's an exciting direction, and I'm really excited to share a bunch of really cool stories to you guys about motorsport, car culture, my cars, just kind of whatever I want to yap to a camera about. So if you've watched this far in the video, let me know your favorite Formula One team below, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!